This event is very important for us because it's the second IE Latin American conference. The first one was last year, and this is an event that is organized by the students themselves, the IE Latin American Business Club together with the Mexico Club. And the idea is to bring together people from both international organizations, academics, but also people from the business world to tell us about what is the relationship between Europe and Latin America, how Latin America is changing, and maybe to what extent this is changing also the perception from Europe to Latin America, how businesses are adapting to the new circumstances in the region. Latin America has gone through cycles, so there were periods when the situation was very bad, like the 1980s. Then the economies recovered in the 1990s. The first decade of this century was very, very good, but suddenly now we're starting to see some changes. I mean, until very recently, Latin America was growing very fast as a region, but of course Latin America is very broad. There are many countries in here. And what we're seeing now is that some countries will continue to grow relatively strongly, but others are falling into crisis. What we're seeing is slowdown in Brazil and Argentina, in Venezuela is going through many problems, and therefore what we're seeing is a more complex situation. What we're trying to analyze is how these complexity in the situation might be affecting the relationship between some countries in Latin America and the whole Latin American region with Europe, and also how is this affecting businesses.
It's changing that it has a stronger base, but it's facing a less favorable macroeconomic environment. So there's not the same demand for raw materials. The prices of raw materials will fuel some of the growth is not there anymore because China's growth being slowing down a little bit. And the external macroeconomic policies are also influencing the availability of capital and so forth. Now the context is less helpful. So the region is more reliant on its own, and you see that there are fewer levers as well. So there's less room to do monetary policies because in some countries the inflation is complicating things. There's less fiscal space as well. So to do expansionary fiscal policy, some countries are a bit more constrained there. So wherever you look for solutions, it's not 100% straightforward. It's a more complex environment that requires measures that are relatively more difficult, right? You have to act on levers that are going to help productivity. You have to improve education, which is something you don't fix overnight.
What's going on in Latin America is now that we are seeing that Latin America is slowing down somewhat, but in our business itself, the impact is not being that high. I mean, our business holds strong, and we expect that the demand for our products remains strong in the foreseeable future, and particularly in Mexico, where we are seeing a lot of improvements. In general, I say that our business are going to will remain strong in Latin America over the coming years. I say that one of the big changes that we've seen over the last decade, let's say, is what regards the financial markets and the financial deepening, particularly. And the companies take advantage of that. And in particular, Cemex, for instance, as an example, is that we are now listed on the Colombian Stock Exchange, which from 2012, which creates a lot of value for our shareholders. And this is an opportunity to create value.
Main transformation of this environment is first digital transformation. The economy is becoming digital, right? And second, full transparency of information. So the companies have to adapt with knowledge, mainly using knowledge. Knowledge is becoming much more important than resources, traditional resources. And the way to adapt is trying to become international. When you become international, when you cross the border, your company have to change your behavior. We always talk about Latin American as an opportunity for Europe. I would say the opposite. Let's think for a while in Europe being an opportunity for the new multi-Latinas companies, right? Those new companies that are growing right now, multi-Latinas, right? They are coming to Europe, and they will pull from medium-sized companies. If you put together that effect, the big multinational bringing medium-sized companies to Europe after them, and you put also that in combination with the 4 or 5 million people Latin American people population living in Spain and Europe, the combination of that will create big opportunities for the Latin American companies